Calories versus food engineering. Why people get obese. Most people think obesity is a math problem. Eat too much, move too little. And the case is closed. But that explanation is too simple for the real world. I'm Dennis and I teach the mechanics of fat loss. So today we run a system test. Calories versus food engineering. Is obesity mostly a discipline failure or a predictable response to a modern food environment? By the end of this video, you'll see why so many people are not broken. They're running old biology inside a new machine. Chapter 1: Willpower versus Biology. First, we test the oldest claim in fitness. People get obese because they lack willpower. Sounds clean, sounds satisfying, and it explains almost nothing. Human biology was not built in a world of food abundance. It was built in a world of uncertainty. For most of human history, calories were valuable. Sweet meant quick energy. Fat meant concentrated energy. Salt meant survival. So the brain learned a simple rule. When valuable energy appears, pay attention. That is not a character flaw. That is good ancestral programming. The problem is this: the programming stayed the same, but the environment changed completely. Now calories are cheap, visible, portable, engineered. Your brain still treats dense food like a rare opportunity. But now that opportunity lives in every office, every gas station, every delivery app, every supermarket aisle. So when someone says, just use discipline, they are pretending biology does not exist. Think of it like this. If I build an aircraft control system for rare turbulence and then fly it permanently inside a storm, the problem is not weak software. The environment changed beyond the original design. That is the obesity story in one sentence. Obesity is often not the proof of weak people. It is the proof of strong ancient instincts meeting constant modern exposure. Chapter 2: Calories versus calorie density. Next test. If calories matter, why do some foods feel impossible to stop eating? Here's the key variable most people miss. Calorie density, not just how many calories a food has, but how many calories it packs into each gram. This changes everything. Your stomach does not count calories directly. It also responds to volume, weight, chewing, time. That means foods can deliver energy faster than fullness can catch up. Compare two systems. System 1: boiled potatoes, fruit, beans, lean protein, high volume, more chewing, more water. System 2: chips, cookies, pastries, ice cream, low volume, fast eating, massive calories. Both can disappear in minutes, but only one system gives your body a real chance to slow you down. That is why just count calories is true, but incomplete. Yes, calories matter, but the delivery system matters too. A calorie is a unit of energy. It is not a unit of fullness, not a unit of satisfaction, and definitely not a unit of self-control. This is where food engineering starts to win. The more calories a product can deliver with less chewing, less volume, and less friction, the easier it becomes to overeat without feeling like you overate. Practical lever. If you change food volume and structure, hunger often changes before willpower ever gets tested. So the first hidden driver of obesity is not just calories alone. It is calories delivered in a form your biology struggles to regulate. Calories versus food engineering. Why people get obese. Hunger versus reward. Here's the next system test. Are people eating because they are hungry? Or because modern food keeps pressing the reward button? These are not the same thing. Hunger is a fuel signal. Reward is a motivation signal. And reward can stay high even when fuel need is low. This is where many people get confused. They think, I wanted the food, so I must have needed the food. Not necessarily. Your brain has two jobs here: regulate energy and chase reward. Modern foods are very good at the second one. Fat, sugar, salt, crunch, creaminess, temperature, aroma. Stack them all together and the food becomes more than calories. It becomes a highly efficient reward delivery system. That is why nobody says, I lost control around boiled potato. But chips, cookies, ice cream, pizza, those foods are built differently. They do not just feed you, they keep the next bite attractive. So the hidden mistake is this: treating all appetite like real biological need. Sometimes you are not fighting hunger, you are fighting stimulation. Visual cues, smell, habits, stress, availability, practical lever. If a food keeps calling your name, stop asking whether you are weak. Ask whether the product is engineered to keep reward higher than fullness. Obesity gets easier when reward starts driving intake more than hunger does. Chapter 4: Whole foods versus engineered foods. Now we test the real battle: whole foods versus engineered foods. This is where the environment becomes the system. Whole foods usually come with friction, more chewing, more structure, more water, more bulk. That friction is not a bug, it is part of appetite control. Engineered foods often remove that friction. Softer textures, faster eating, higher energy density, less stopping power. This is why two diets can look similar on paper, but behave very differently in a real human. Same calories listed, different food structure, different eating speed, different reward profile, different outcome. In controlled research, people eating ultra-processed diets consume more calories and gained weight compared with unprocessed diets. That is the critical mindset flip. Modern obesity is not only about bad decisions, it is also about products that make overeating mechanically easier. Think like an engineer. If a system repeatedly fails under the same conditions, stop blaming the operator alone. Inspect the design. The more food is engineered for speed, pleasure, and low resistance, the more obesity becomes a predictable system output. Chapter 5: Knowledge versus environment design. Final test. If people know fat loss requires a calorie deficit, why does knowledge fail so often? Because knowledge is not stronger than environment by default. You can understand the rules perfectly and still lose if every variable around you pushes intake up. Cheap food, constant cues, huge portions, low satiety, high reward. That is not a neutral battlefield, that is an ambush. So the winning question is not, how do I become more disciplined? It is, how do I redesign the system so discipline is needed less often? That is the fat loss engineer mindset. More foods that slow you down. Fewer foods that bypass control. Fewer reward traps. More friction when you need protection. If this helped you see obesity differently, share this with someone who still thinks it is just about laziness. Alright, final rule. Calories still matter. But food engineering decides how hard those calories are to regulate. Identity insight. Fat loss is not about becoming a better victim of the food environment. It is about becoming a better designer of your own system. Share-worthy line. Obesity is often not a willpower failure. It is ancient biology losing a daily battle against modern food design. If you would like to know the best methods to lose weight, check this video out right here.